Bon dia, hi everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world today. Welcome to another Fireside Chat, and this is our 38th, where I'm in conversation with a member of the Order of Bards, Ovids and Druids. Hi Jane from High River. Hi Lisa from Washington. Sherry from New York. Lovely to see you. So just type in your name and let me know where you're from. Hi, Tricia. Bright blessings to you too. That's wonderful. So, hi, Gordon from Aberdeenshire. Lovely. And Jenna from Texas. It's sunny. It has been sunny here too. Our temperatures are up, thank goodness. And Tara, welcome back from New York. And Stephanie from Utah. Lovely to see you. And Ava from Belgium. Lovely. Diane from Durham. Great. And Simon from Suffolk. And Minnesota. Where else? We have... Absolutely. Oh, Mexico. Welcome. Welcome. So, and sunny Sweden. Lovely to hear about the sunshine. And Hertfordshire, Suffolk. Wonderful. That's great. And Chicago. You're all very, very welcome. So and Virginia. Hi, Cindy. So it's lovely to see familiar, I can't say familiar faces, but familiar names, seeing you all. And hi, Zane again from California. Wonderful. And Stefan. So let me introduce you to my guest this evening. We go to the UK. And Stephen Barnes. Stephen, you're so welcome.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here. How are you?
So tell me, where are you? Or tell our viewers where you are.
Okay. We live, myself and Marita, we live in a small village about 30 miles north of London. It's on the eastern tip of Hertfordshire, on the borders of Essex. And we are right at the northern tip of the Lee Valley Park area. And it's it's marshland, surrounded by lovely fields, but it's a commuter village as well. So when I used to travel into work, I'd get down on a little village train. It takes me straight into London. So it's a lovely little place. It's convenient, and I've got an abundance of countryside when I need to take a bit of a healing break. Lots of history around it, so it's a wonderful place.
So just tell us a little bit about the history.
I'm reading a really good book at the moment. I recommend this. The Anglo-Saxons, Mark Morris.
Okay.
Interesting little bit in that I found out. Where our home is built now, there was a Viking settlement here. I think 678, I think the date, might be wrong there, but they camped here for the winter until there was a battle here with, who was it, King... got the king then. Anyway, yes, there's a lot of Vikings here, and pre the Vikings, and there's a Roman settlement, and even now when we go out into the fields, you find lots of bits of Roman pottery from the old villas.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's all there, and the geology is it's clay with lots of aggregates from the glacial period. And apparently this area as well has had the longest amount of settlement by population than virtually anywhere in Europe during the eons, which is quite fascinating because of its location.
Explain that. You mean it's been populated for the longest time?
Yeah, in one of the most places in Europe. It's because you've got the Thames estuary, and then you've got the River Lee, and it comes right up to where we are, to the Hertford Basin. So yeah, thousands of years this has been used as a route pre-Roman London. So yeah, and literally about 50 yards, I've got Ermine Street, where the Roman road used to be as well. So
Wow.
it's an interesting place.
Wow. So you mentioned, okay, so this is all the human settlements, and in terms of wildlife and the naturescape, what's it like?
Bird-wise, got an abundance of wildlife. We've got ravens just about 100 metres up here, buzzards, red kites. Out in the garden at the moment, we're getting greenfinches, goldfinches, wrens, chaffinches, ducks now. We've got ducks coming in the morning to get some little treats. Jays. And we're right on top of the dragonfly fields as well. We've got it's a large nature reserve where, again, it's one of the highest density populations of varieties of dragonflies in Europe, across the whole length of the Lee Valley Park. So in the next couple of weeks now, we're going to start to see abundance of these dragonflies coming out, damselflies. Wow. Wonderful, wonderful little helicopters floating around. They come into the garden, doing all the hunting, getting the gnats in the evening. It's just wonderful to watch.
They eat so they're carnivores. They eat insects.
Yeah. And then we get the hobbies as well. We get the birds because we get the hobbies migrating, which is the smallest of falcons, and they come in as well, and they're feeding on the dragonflies, and they come bombing through the hobbies, feeding on the dragonflies. So it's.
I must say to our viewers that I've been envious of you and your ability with birds. That I've seen photographs of you in uniform with birds up in your arm, squirrels, and I remember the first thing when I met you years ago on retreat. You said that you fed the jays in your bedroom window, or if they come into your bedroom, they will come in. I know jays are very shy birds, and I think, what's your secret?
Patience. Some magic, but the secret ingredient is monkey nuts. You just monkey nuts is the real trick. Once they know they're there, they kill for it. Yeah, but at one point when I was living just outside of Epping Forest, I had 9 to 10 jays, a whole 2 families were coming through the bedroom window, and I used to lay on the bed. I used to fly and take the monkey nuts off my chest and fly back out the window again. But it took a few weeks to train them, but that,
Wow.
Yeah, I've got a grey squirrel at the moment. He's coming through the window every morning, taps on the window for his monkey nut.
That's absolutely wonderful. Oh, just wonderful. Have I seen a photograph of you in a car with a swan?
Yeah, there's cars. Pictures of me with swans in the cars and me holding the swan. Was it? Sorry?
You were on a date?
Yeah. I wanted a long-legged bird. I got a short-legged swan. So, but yeah, I mean, it was the nature of the job, because I worked in Hyde Park, Kensington Gardens. So dealing with swans was part of the daily ritual, holding up traffic and crashing and fighting. Just going on, picking up the swan, taking it across, put it back in the pond again. And
did you have special swan training? Because I mean, they can be quite dangerous.
You've got to be a certain. I mean, the old myth about careful of swans, they'll break your arm. That's it's not true. I mean, they've got a very powerful wing beat. I mean, a small child or an infirm person could get knocked over, yes. But the trick is come around behind them and then get around them, pick them up, support the neck, and then hope for the best.
I think your height is an advantage, I would imagine, as well.
Yeah, it does help. Yeah. But no, I'm just lucky, I guess. It's something I've always done. I mean, my connection with wildlife started when I was 4 or 5. I mean, I was weird as a child. When most children are off playing, with their friends or playing football, I was more happy to go and sit in the cardboard box in the garden, feeding the birds, drawing the birds. That's how I honed my drawing skills of wildlife. And then, when I was a bit older, 8 and 10, I used to go from my home address. I used to walk about a mile by myself with my sandwiches and flasks, go down to the Lee Valley Park, and I'll be down there from 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be back again 8 o'clock in the night, by myself, just going around being with the birds and learning everything about them. And that's what I've done. So I was a bit of a loner as a child. I just wanted to be out there in nature and be with my friends and the birds and the animals. So that's where my nature connection started.
And I know I've seen your paintings of birds and wildlife. That was a good many years ago. You are truly Steve Savildonic. And Jane Myatt is saying, Stephen, your artwork is beautiful, as is your music. Actually, we're going to have a musical treat later on. But I remember in Caimabon, you were painting a bird, I think. And I was, oh my goodness, this guy, he plays music, he writes songs, he sings. And he paints as well, incredibly talented.
I'm just very thankful of the gifts that I've been given. Just gratitude. I can just only be thankful. Really, I've just been very blessed that I've had the time and nurturing. I had a good childhood to do these things, learn these things. I'm just very lucky that I can do these and don't take it for granted. I mean, I don't draw and paint as much as I used to. I mean, the glasses are a hindrance, and my creativity now is songwriting and the music side.
Where do you go for that creativity? Your Awen, your Imas. Where do you find it?
Let's work from the beginning. It's the awareness of when I start my day, for example. Even when I used to go to work, I used to be very regimented. And I get up in the morning, I had my cup of tea, and I go outside into the garden and just connect and focus myself, but be focused on everything that's around me, whether it's watching the bees coming in the morning, watching the birds and everything like that. What the wind was doing, where the sun was coming up, where the moon was setting in the sky, all these little things that's generally around you, and just absorbing it. And then sometimes little feelings would come to me, and I'd be on the train going to work, and I'd make a note of them in my journal. I'd never go anywhere without a little notebook and journal. Just make little notes in there. So it's just any kind of experience. It could be just seeing just people doing something, or children playing, or and it just goes in the notebook. And eventually, I might have an idea for a song. Myself and Marita would have an idea for a song, and we think, oh, that's a good little idea. And you put it in together, and you get like a patchwork of ideas, and we play around with it until we find a song that kind of works.
Oh, wonderful!
So yeah, so I mean, that's a great thing about the cauldron of creativity. You have all these different ingredients of where you're sourcing it from. It's what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling. Which is the song "Blue Sky," which we wrote, is about that. Is what's at our sea, and what we see is seeing the memories of the old ways, and then what we hear again is attaching to the old ways, and what you feel is attaching to the old ways again. It's just connection, and so that's where it comes from. Connecting to the
Say that again.
Connecting to the Imas, to the universe, to the cosmos.
What brought you to Druidry?
Now, did Druidry find me, or did I find the Druidry?
Good question.
I think the start of it was when I turned 40. whether it was a midlife crisis, I don't know. But I said to my previous marriage, and I said to my ex-wife then, and my wife and my son and my daughter, I want to climb a mountain on my birthday. And I was I was going through going through a bit of a depression time, and I wanted to climb Mount Snow, to climb that mountain on my birthday, to get on there, physically stand on there and ask the universe for change. I had to looking for answers. So we got up this mountain, and it was April the 12th, 15 years ago, and it was freezing cold with snow, ice getting up there. And as we went up the Watkins track, and those who've been up Snowdon before, you get to that part, and you come to this scree part, and we come across this woman that was by herself there. There's quite a lot of snow, and she said, when you get up to the top, if you see my husband, can you tell him I'm going to wait here? I'll wait here for you. So we've gone up, went up the top. There's no one else there. And then a snowstorm was coming, and again up the top of Snowdon, just around the other side where the cafe is, there's a sheer drop, and it was just all clear. And I said to my son Jamie, "This is I'm a bit worried here because there's no one up here. Looking at this snow then and visibility, I hope he hasn't had an accident." So we've gone back down again, found this woman, and the chap wasn't there. So she's obviously panicked. We've got a bit of a panic, and what's going to happen here? So we took this very distressed woman back down the mountain again. She wanted to stay there, and she wasn't dressed for the occasion. I'm going off a bit of a tangent here, but gets all the way down. This took about 4 or 5 hours to this distressed woman. Just as we get to the bottom, the husband is in a car park, walking back up, absolutely exhausted. And so basically, I mean, we saved this woman's life because she would have died of hypothermia on the mountain, and probably him as well, because he wouldn't have survived getting back up the mountain again. And so the lesson from this story, apart from I've gone on a bit, is when we look back a bit now, a couple of things that came out of this experience for my son. It gave him the magic to become an adventurer. He's only a couple of weeks ago, he's just passed his mountain leader's qualification and travels all over the world doing his adventures. So that was a seed of where he wanted to do his thing. And for when I climbed up and wanted to climb a mountain on my birthday, the message I got back from that is, what you are seeking, you're taking with you when you're climbing the mountain anyway. You're not going to find anything there. It's it is the journey going up the mountain, and you deal with the problems as you come, and you carry on again. It's a bit like the book The Alchemist,
Yes.
So that was the start of me thinking about this journey kind of thing. And then shortly after that, I've gone through a divorce, and then thankfully I met my soulmate Marita, and then we lived together a short while. And I won't say what happened because it's very personal, but I had this very profound experience with a wolf.
Okay.
It was just magical, and I've googled it what my experience was, and the thing that came up was OBODs, Druids. And I thought, what's this? And I got onto it, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. And that was the path to where we joined OBOD. Through this, these events that have gone on. So mountains, wolves, nature, and lots of other little synchronicities that's taken me to this path in Druidry, I suppose. I'm sure there's other bits I can't think of it all now. I'm rambling. So.
No, it's really, really interesting. I mean, that chance thing, Googling what that experience might have meant, and then up pops OBOD.
Yeah.
That I found it in a book. A book hopped out on Druidry, Cassandra Eason's book, and the modern day Druidess, and she mentions OBOD at the back, and that's how I discovered it. And it's like, it's that thing, on the right day, I was in the bookshop, and it's happened before. I've experienced where a book seems to pop out.
Yeah.
That might have been there all the time before, and I hadn't noticed it, but this was the right time for it, and caught my attention, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So, did you have early spiritual experiences, or would you, as when you were out in nature as a little boy, did you have any?
Yeah, I had many. I had this recurring nightmare that started from the age of about 4, and I had it all the way up to the age of about 11, 12. I say nightmare, but I understand what it was all about now. The way I can explain it is, if you imagine this, again, I touched on this in a few of our songs. If you imagine an ocean, a clear blue ocean, almost this colour blue.
Yeah.
And it's still like glass, and it goes on, but there's no horizons. It's the most beautiful, tranquil water you can possibly imagine. Crystal still. And you're travelling over this water at high speed, and you're reaching down just to touch it. And as you touch it, you start to skim into that water. And as soon as you break the film of the water, you're then sucked down, and you're dragged down, and you can see the light disappearing as it gets darker and darker, and you're pulled into the abyss. And then you're choking, it just get darker, and you panic. And then I used to wake up screaming because I couldn't breathe, I was drowning. And I had this for years, even had to go, I went to various counselling to try and solve what this dream was. And then as I went to secondary school, it disappeared. It was only when, it's before I joined OBOD, but it's working for the OBOD grade sort of honed it for me. It's almost as if the blue water was another plane of existence. That was peace and nirvana, and being pulled through was being born basically into this world. That's the kind of how I feel that's what that was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't look at it as an art now. I look at it as a wonderful birthing experience, really. And I was just getting little snapshots of that other plane of existence. So.
That's a lovely way of looking at it, and a very reassuring way of looking at it, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah.
And I suppose when you think about it, what must, if I don't remember being born, but I remember my daughter being born. And I remember what that felt like, and how her head was all squashed, when she came out. That what's it like, for us when we're going through that, being, this being with contractions, being squeezed and pushed, and wondering, are we going to make it, or whatever it is. I think it's a very interesting process. And I remember my midwife talking about it being, your first major life task is to go through the birth canal. That's if you've been fortunate enough to go through it and be able to do it on your own. One of my children was born through a cesarean section, and my second child was born at home, naturally at home. But it's I was always aware of that, even for my first child who had a section, that he didn't have that first experience, that first challenge to get through. But that lovely image of that clear blue sounds absolutely wonderful. When has Druidry supported you?
Oh, many a time. I mean, especially, as you know, I'm a police officer, about to retire in less than 14 days' time. Sorry, not counting. Looking forward to the new page, that's for sure. It's been essential in my role as a police officer. It's been a wonderful to make balance, especially in the last 4 or 5 years when I've had to deal with very complex, and I'd probably say I've had probably the most challenging community policing role probably anywhere in the country, because I used to be the community officer for Speaker's Corner at Hyde Park.
And what did that involve?
Playing headmaster to a lot of unruly school children most of the time who don't understand freedom of speech, when everybody has their own truth and they're not willing to listen to anybody else. And as we know from what social media has done, especially in the last 5 years, from what I've noticed there, social media is the cancer of freedom of speech. It robs people of their responsibility, and when you got the melting pot what Speaker's Corner is, with various religions, various political views, with so much hatred, there's me in the middle of it, playing police officer, keeping the peace, allowing people to keep the traditions of Speaker's Corner.
Can you explain to our viewers who aren't from these parts what Speaker's Corner is? What's the
Speaker's Corner, Hyde Park, on the northern part of Hyde Park. The area's a tradition of about 300 years where they used to have the Tyburn hanging gallows. That's where every Sunday morning you go to the whole of London would go there to watch people get hung. And there used to be any last words, and then people getting hung with the say their spiel, and then it'll be hung there. And then about 150 years ago, the Speaker's Corner, as we know it now, was created. There was a whole series of riots in about 1876, and then had the Reformation Act come in, and it was granted, and it's in statute law that area known as Speaker's Corner, you have the right to attend there and speak freely and gather freely. And you've had George Orwell, you've had Lenin, Karl Marx. You've had some of the biggest protests have been like Stop the War Coalition. Billy Bragg speaks there. And it's been synonymous in freedom of what it is, the diamond in what freedom of speech is in a public arena. And it's the only place like that in the world now.
Okay.
And you've got, I don't like to say you've got a lot of crackpots, but you've got a lot of people there who've got a different sense of that. They've got their own reality. And it's good you let them do their thing. And you get the hecklers, and he gets very buoyant, and gets very passionate, and that's the whole idea of what it is. As a police officer, you stand back from that and let them do what they want to do, as long as they're not knocking 7 bells out of each other. But the change happened about 5 or 6 years ago when Speaker's Corner got hijacked by social media, and then people weaponise it, polarising it for their own needs, whether it's religion, political, far left, far right, and then that impacts on the community. And then we had the tragic 7/7 London bombings. 2 of the ringleaders there were frequenters there. So you had ultra radicalised groups coming, then you had the people opposing those, and you can see you had this melting pot of a lot of hate, and sometimes we had some really serious disturbances. So my role was to find the balance and solve some of these problems as a community, and I created a forum. It was the first time it was ever done in its history that I got representatives from all the religions. All the regulars some have been coming for 50 odd years. One of which was a chap called Bob, who's only recently passed away a couple of months ago. If you go online, you put Speaker's Corner, you will see him. He's the one that wears the sign. It's only going to get worse. The end of the world is nigh. And he's been, he got all those characters, and we've got everybody together. We had these quarterly meetings to work together to marginalise the people who wanted to disrupt what was going on there. And it worked. We reduced crime in instant by over 70% in 18 months. We stopped it. And then COVID came along, and then I've gone now, so it's not my problem now. But it paid a massive price on my health. Everything comes at a price we do, but it was. But going back to your question, because they all knew I was a Druid, and I was very vocal with that, and they liked that because they understood what a Druids historically were. They were the peacemakers.
It's from Tara McCormack. How wonderful to live your role of a Druid as peacekeeper in modern times. That's a lovely comment. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that. And then we had one of my, how would I say it? There's obviously sometimes a police officer, you've got to stay on the middle ground all the time. You've got to be totally impartial. And then sometimes you think, there'll be a demonstration, and I think, I don't want to be here. And especially when Extinction Rebellion came down to Hyde Park, was it April 2019, I think it was. And I heard whispers all kind of coming down to camp in Hyde Park, which is, it's a big no-no. And I was with the park managers scratching our heads how we're going to get around this, because I'm obviously, at the time, I was, pretty pro-XR for what they stood for, and I thought, this is not going to turn out good. And this crowd turned up. There was about a couple of hundred start coming to Hyde Park, and then I heard this voice over this sound system. There it is. JJ. And I thought, I know that voice. And I thought it was JJ, and I thought, okay, let's go and have a chat with everybody. And it was that was a wonderful moment, because again, that's where, as a police officer, you work by consent of the public you serve. And
yes.
The public I serve, the community was there as well as everybody else. So, had a lovely chat with JJ. He introduced me, and I spoke to the crowd. Said I was, obviously sympathetic for their cause and the Druid and everything like that. But then I have to say, however, where you want to camp is right on where there's an education centre that I work with as well. They teach young people about the environment. It's a wonderful place. They get them out in the trees and play with bugs and everything. And I said, if you're going to camp here, I've got 100 children coming tomorrow, which I'm working with. They're going to cancel. You can't be here. So we had a little chat with everybody, and they said, okay, we'll be off by 9 o'clock in the morning. And 9 o'clock in the morning, everybody completely clear, all gone. It's cleaner when they arrived. Every little bit of litter packed up. Wonderful.
Oh, brilliant.
So again, that's as a Druid policeman, it's great. It works. Other examples. You find we get a lot of suicides in the parks, so we find we get a lot of people come to nature because that's where they want to pass on, whether it's trees or they want to go to water. Very common. And one that does stand out, there was a young man that died tragically in the Serpentine, and his mum couldn't face coming to see where he passed away, because I pulled him out. I found his body, and it was the following year that the mum wanted to know where the body was found, where he drowned, and so I got the message to her that directing it where it was, and I took a photograph and I sent it, and of where these swans were nesting.
Oh.
So when she goes there, she can associate the sun with the swans. So there's little things like that. You try and turn something around which is tragic to put something beautiful into it as well.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, and I'm a great believer in magic, and one of the good things about what us Druids do is how we plant seeds in people, especially young people. And then we had a serious robbery problem about 5 years ago. Gangs come in with large machetes and causing havoc. And there's one group of kids one evening. Now, believe it or not, in Hyde Park, when it's a clear night, no cloud, you can actually see lots of stars and planets. It's very clear.
Yeah.
And I've stopped this little group of 6 or 7 males, and there's one particular guy, very vocal, very anti-police. Wasn't gonna win with him. So okay, we take the payment off. We put the druid cap on. And I said to this young man, "What's that light up there?" And he sort of looks at me and he goes, "Oh, it's a star, isn't it?" And I said, "Well, no, it's not a star. It's a planet. That's the planet Mars." And he goes, "Oh, yes." And I pointed out to the west, and I said, "What's that up there?" And he goes, "Well, it's not a star airplane." I said, "No, that's the planet Jupiter." And you can obviously see in his eyes, what is this copper on about? This 6'6" copper, he's talking about this. But it's something you can see, something just changed in his demeanour. He can't write down, done what we had to do, and off he went on his way. It was about 5 or 6 months later, I was driving around in my little van around the park, and there was on the window, and there was this young chap, and he said, "I thought it was you, officer. Guess what? I'm getting a telescope for my birthday."
Oh, now there's magic.
So don't know whether he changed his life around there, but those little things that we Druids plant in people, as we know, magic is is changing the questing, and that might have been just enough to change his ways. Who knows?
As Melanie says, wonderful. I wish there were more Druid police in this world like you. And you're going in 2 weeks.
Oh, there's a few.
Gabrielle has a question. Were there ceremonies and rituals you did before certain jobs or moments?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
Were there ceremonies and rituals you did before certain jobs or moments?
What, as a police officer? Or?
Yeah, I assume that's what she means.
Not physical rituals. Very mindful. Very mindful thoughts. And anyway, I can sort of think about. I mean, if you take the Druid's prayer, as we know, all the elements of Druid's prayer is very powerful. But for me, and myself and Marita were talking about this quite a lot the other day. The most important part, I think, of the Druid's prayer is the understanding. To understand people's own truths, to understand people's own hurt, angers, and it's for us to not to be judgmental. I was just trying to think. I can tie it into that question, but it's the ritual for me is knowing how can I act to serve this person the right way, and I'm mindful of that all the time. And even when I go to work and I'm walking down to the station, I'm thinking, right, okay, I'm hoping I'm going to come back today. I'm not going to get hurt or anything like that. But I'm always mindful, and I think I ask the universe and the Great Spirit to think, okay, let me be understanding, let me be compassionate. And that is, to me, is a fundamental ritual of being a Druid. Druid is to, as we know, you have to be compassionate, you have to be understanding. I never use the word, or I try not to use the word hate. anything. I don't hate anything. I might dislike something, but hate is it's cancerous. It's acidic. I don't like using the word hope. Hope. I hope it's going to be okay. I hope the weather's going to be nice tomorrow. It doesn't mean I like to replace it with I have faith it's going to be okay.
Yes.
I know it's going to be okay. Does that make sense? Hope is like it's wishy-washy.
It's really interesting. I do this with weather, particularly for outdoor ceremonies. I never say, "Oh, I hope now it's fine tomorrow." But what I do is I go out to the elements and give thanks to the clouds for holding back. Thanking them for their blessings of rain on the land, and thanking them for holding back so we can have our ceremony in some comfort.
Yeah.
And there's once it didn't work. And all the times I've done rituals and ceremonies and hand fastings and all of that, it's once it didn't. And then when it didn't, it was like, well, it's meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but it's always gratitude for what's going to happen rather than a please. You're coming from a place of abundance rather than a place of lack.
Absolutely.
And it makes I think it makes a difference. Linda Joan, who's in Australia, it's a wonderful daily outlook for someone in such a challenging role. I think it is, but you know what? I think it must be a great anchor, having that awareness, consciousness, and that ability to understand. And sometimes you don't have an ability, but you want to, and even that willingness to understand puts you in a place where you can have compassion for the other.
Yeah, it's again, this is what I'm really, really grateful for, because myself and the police colleagues I work with, I've experienced and they've experienced. You cannot imagine some of the most awful things that we have had to deal with. You cannot imagine it. Most of the public have such a sheltered life. They'll see something which is on the media, but when you're physically there, and you've physically seen that, when a bomb's exploded or children have been killed, and then you have to go to knock on the parents' door, give them the news, and all these kind of things, and I am so thankful for all these experiences, because after now I've finished my career, it's given me such a great foundation for wherever I go next, because I had that understanding, I had that compassion, to take it further.
Absolutely. It's and having those experiences, it opens you up to the world as it is. Andrew Moore says you insulate the public. And I think, and perhaps that's one way of putting it, and I think health workers do the same, in hospitals or police, firefighters, paramedics, all of that insulate the public from an awful lot of pain and the rawness of it, except those who are immediately affected, like that mother, of her son. All of that, and it's a really, really important role. And I think it's lovely to have this conversation, because there's so often so much anti-police conversations and so much about police brutality. And I'm not saying that isn't there, but it's not the full picture, And I think to have that, like I rang a local Garda here about having a ceremony, and I was talking to a really reasonable, friendly person, and it's like, great, feeling held, by the local police, which is really nice, rather than seeing them as the enemy all the time.
Yeah, and you're going to get rotten apples in any kind of job, and we've seen some awful things which police officers done and allegedly done that's in the media at the moment. It's just, it's just awful. We're totally ashamed and shocked by their behaviour. But as we know, the vast majority are all emergency services are doing an absolutely outstanding, most of the time, thankless work, thankless task.
Here's a message from Tolib. Tolib is the Irish word for the ground, the earth. I'm so grateful for your service, Stephen, and it was lovely to meet you. May your retirement be peaceful, and I hope to see you soon.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you.
And then somebody else says, this is, wait a second, Debbie, sorry, it's going too fast. You would make an excellent training instructor for the police force.
Yeah. Maybe we should teach a bit of Druidry in the police training. It might solve a few of the problems.
It might. And then Jenna, hello Stephen, thank you for sharing your life experience and those around you. You're doing a thankless job in a heightened time period, and spirit bless you for it. It seems a day for dragonflies and wolves for me to take notice of different and yet similar perspectives. Cheers and bright blessings. That's lovely.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So given your job, as in the police force, and one of the pillars, I suppose, in Druidry is that of responsibility and accountability, and ethics and acting responsibly, etc. How do you see yourself in terms as a future ancestor now, or how do you hold that responsibility, or how aware are you of you as a future ancestor?
Going back to the Extinction Rebellion, when that first started in 2019, when it came to Marble Arch, and Greta got at Marble Arch, and we saw the huge public support right around the world. Mm-hmm. And you can see the ripples that's going on there. And I thought to myself then, okay, when I'm doing my work I'm doing now, but when I retire, my next thing of service is how we're going to start getting these seeds changed to ripple out further. I would like to see that what I do with my wife Marisa as well, with OBOD, we are part of this wonderful organisation now, which is this. OBOD now is the best. We're experiencing the best time to be within OBOD. This is the magic part where that cauldron is bubbling. This is it. Yeah, and we are part of this. We're part of this. The change is now starting. The light. It's not all doom and gloom. Mm-hmm. Things have to break to get fixed. Yeah. So I see myself is what we're going to do with the work I'm going to do in my local community, where I'm going out picking up litter or doing a bit of local activism and writing things that we're going to do as Druids. We've got to. I'm trying to get a little seed root growing. Well, that will become a grove soon because we need to finish our Druid grade. So there's all these things that we're going to do. So eventually, the work we're going to do that's how I see myself as an ancestor. We're part of this wonderful web that is growing, and it is. Can I sing you one? I've got a couple of songs I want to sing you. Can I just sing a song? Okay, it'll explain that question quite well, I think.
Oh, wonderful.
I don't know how this is going to sound through this mic and everything, but we'll give it a go. You get an idea. So when I saw Greta there and the experiences of exile, and I thought I had to write a song. Myself and Rita put this together, and it's called "Make the Change," and it's about we've come to this crossroads in humanity now. We've dug this hole, and we keep digging, we keep consuming, we keep, we're just eating everything away. We've torn our sail. We've got no direction anymore. Mm-hmm. Everything's on fire. Waters are rising, and humanity is basically, we're just being insane. So the song is about this doom and gloom, but the children are now starting to ask the questions. We're asking the questions. We want the truth now, and the light will come. So that's basically what the song's about. There's a hole in the world. There's a tear in the sail. The whole world's on fire from greed and desire. What have we come to? This race that's been run for a prize can't be won. The loser is blind as the tides rise behind. Nowhere to run now. Are we to blame for being human? Or are we just insane? Do you hear her calling to you? Make the change. There's a cross in the road. Which path do we go? Our future's unclear. Is the end drawing near? Can you hear the bell toll? As a child makes a stand, holds a sign in her hand. The message is clear for all the world to hear. Tell the truth now. Are we to blame for being human? Or are we just insane? Do you hear her calling to you? Make the change. A hole can be filled, a sail can be sold. Fire gives light, it's our beacon through the night. The change has begun now. And the chill and the fountains of our tears in time will run clear. Our forests will grow from the seeds that we sow. Change has begun now. Are we to blame for being human? Are we just insane? Do you hear her calling to you through the land, sea and sky? Make the change. Make the change.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, there was that on your next CD, or is a recording of that?
Yeah, it's going to be on our next album. So
yeah. you and Marita and Ali and maybe a few others are Willow Wolf. Isn't that your group?
Yeah.
And, maybe after this you'll put in just the name of that album. I highly recommend it. I know all the words, so I'm looking forward to the second album. So absolutely beautiful, inspiring too. Thank you. Just gorgeous. Thank you for sharing. There's great responses to this. Beautiful voice and beautiful words. So at the end of this, just type in for everybody that the title of your what is it? Children of the Sun, is it?
Children of the Sun, yeah.
Yeah. It's just beautiful. Okay, thank you. Kerry Robinson says, beautiful song. My daughter has a school field trip to plant in wetlands today. Okay, where can we buy the album or download? Thank you. So there's a question.
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp, Willow Wolf, Children of the Sun. Download it there.
Bandcamp, okay.
We're on Bandcamp, yeah, download it there. So.
Oh, wonderful. Do you have a favorite? Thanks, Jane. Jane has put it in there.
Thanks, Jane.
That's wonderful. Do you have a sacred site that you like?
I'd say my spiritual home is the Isle of Wight.
Okay, tell me that.
I spent a large proportion of my childhood on the island.
Okay.
I got a wonderful standing stone there at Mottiston, the long stone. I've got a very, very strong attachment to that, and the plan is in 10 years we're gonna move there. That's going to be my retirement place, and that's where my parents' ashes are scattered there as well. So that's very strong. I've got a very, very strong attachment to this area. Now, this is glad to remind me, because this is really, really quite poignant, actually. 2 years ago, I'd done the Ancestry DNA thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And because I lost both my parents when I was quite young, within 6 months of each other. And I didn't know much about my family's history. All I knew was my father's side, they moved to the East End of London during the Great Depression. And my mum's side, I knew part of from her mother's side, they were sort of came from the Birmingham kind of area. So very little. So I've gone to the DNA kind of thing, done all the bits and pieces for the ancestry. Unknown to me, where we're living now, 10 miles up the road here, there's a little village called Sandon. 70 members of my father's side are all recorded, born and buried in that race. 70. And I've traced that side all the way back to 1458.
Wow.
It just shows you just that DNA attachment. There's something, that feels right here. And the Isle of Wight link is my mother's side, Dorset, Poole, and that's a big stronghold there. And that's where we've got that long family link there. So it's that's been amazing. And it was Selwyn 2019. We went to the main the church of the village there, hoping to see some Ancestor, but obviously they're way back. There's no stones remaining. But it was nice to spend the afternoon there and sit with my family ancestors. So that was just amazing. Other sites, Norfolk. I've got a very strong around the kind of Thetford kind of area. We had a quite strange experience. Was it summer before last? We myself and Rita, we went out on our bikes around there, and it was beautiful. I love flat open skies. I'm not a hilly person. I like great open sky. And I physically wept because I you just can feel the quickening inside the body. I was just so attached to that land. It's just amazing. So looking forward to going there again in a few weeks' time, just to get back to the land again.
We had a Druid Gorset there a few years ago, and walking through the Norfolk Broads. We had a boat when I was a teenager, and it had come from the Norfolk Broad. It was a river boat. It had come from the Norfolk Broads. And I was really struck by how flat everything is. I come from the bog. Everything is flat. You can get lost because there are no landmarks. Give me hills and trees. So it's really interesting having that, enjoying the flat landscape. Now I was fascinated with it, but I do like some undulations. So
yeah, I think it's because I'm very much I'm very much a sky and air person. One of my totems is buzzards and hawks.
Yes.
I like to have the overview, and I like to be up there in the sky communing with my buzzards, and when you've got that wonderful sky and you see the clouds and they stack up down the horizon, it's just wonderful. I want skies and the cosmos. And another habit I have, I do it most evenings. Before I go to bed in the evening, I have to go outside and look into the heavens. I've done that since a child. I've got to do it because I need to know where I am in the cosmos all the time, because it kind of resets your balance. Because we're this little tiny planet hurtling through our solar system at 66,000 miles an hour, and it just kind of reminds you where we're going.
Wow.
Horizons. This is a problem again in society today. We're so boxed in with our little devices in front of our faces, our screens, our rooms, our houses.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think this is why I like flat. I like to see horizons. And that could hark back to my, the dream of the water that goes on and on and on. And on. There is something there, and I have to find that expanse to connect with.
That's really interesting. Mine is forests, and it's the earth and the trees, and it's really interesting you getting your bearings from the sky, which obviously is a wonderful way of navigating, but it's a wonderful connection. Somebody says Norfolk is in my bones, in my blood, in my heart. Is there a connection with Norfolk and the Isle of Wight? Is there a special Norfolk boat that people used to, I've forgotten the name of it. It would go from Norfolk down along the coast to the Isle of Wight.
I don't know.
Anyway, look it up. Yeah, there was a special, I don't know, was it a flat bottom boat that sailed close to the coast and would, I think, go to the Isle of Wight. it's gone. Anyway, I'll have to look it up. Sorry about bringing up something that I'm not really clear about. Do you have a daily practice?
I mean, I touched on it earlier on. I mean, especially because I've been off sick since December. Because I've got this respiratory illness, which has forced my early retirement, which is not such a bad problem. Mm-hmm. So I've changed my practice accordingly, and this is a great thing about Druidry, and we change, we make use of what we've got and what we can do. So at the moment, I'll be up at the crack of dawn as soon as blackbirds singing away out there on the rowan tree, making a cup of tea, go out in the garden, and again, I have to connect, and I have to see what's going on, see what's happening in the sky, drink my tea, and then think, how am I going to plan for the day? And then I'll go in and I'll do what's called my wolf yoga. Wolf yoga, because I'm very tall and I was very, very inflexible, and because this condition made my joints seize up and swell. I mean, about a month ago, I couldn't even play guitar. It was really, really sore. And for the last, I've been doing this wolf yoga for a while, about a year anyway, but I've been doing it 3 times a day now. And these just like primal movements, just moving, and I'll do that for a good half an hour of movement in the morning, just to move, working on the breathing, and then having a good healthy breakfast. So the practice it's generally about well-being. As we know, we are what we feed ourselves. So we've got to feed ourselves mentally stimulating things, and getting out there in nature, getting our body moving the best that what we've got, we can do with it. Yeah, eating the right foods, and then we've been doing lots of doing a lot of work in the garden. We've created this wonderful wildlife. So because we run a little community garden, we've got a complex we share with other people, and we've basically built this lovely community garden, bringing in bees and all kinds of wildlife. It's absolutely wonderful. It's our little nematode. It's a wonderful little sanctuary, which reminds me actually, one quote which I've always lived my life with, and it's so true, is if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
So if you create a garden with lots of varieties of bee flowers, feeders out for birds, put nesting boxes and bits and pieces, nature comes. So you bring the bees in, brings the birds in, brings everything else in. The garden is absolutely buzzing. So you build it. You build a campfire, people come to sit around it to gather. You build a spiritual practice, whatever that's right for you. You build positive thoughts. You build the right practice, which is right for you. So if you build it, they will come. You'll build the right thoughts that come into your life. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What is wolf yoga?
Mm-hmm.
What is wolf
yoga? I mean, I won't show you, but I mean, I do various kind of stretches, yawned.
Oh yes, like the dog posture.
Yeah, do those kind of things like that, and kind of weird stretchings, and because one of my totems is a wolf again, and it's just stuck wolf yoga. I might even do a little howl if I get excited as well.
For me, it's the cat posture that just saves my life when I do the cat. So it's just interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not very flexible, but I enjoy it, and it keeps me moving.
Well, if you start, it happens. If if you build it, they'll come. That gradually, you just keep chipping away and becoming more and more. That you become more fitter. Ellie has a comment here. Can I say, Steve, that whatever the new regime is, it's working well. You're looking great. Marita's keeping you on track.
Oh, she is. God, not off. God, yeah. I mean, she loves it because I'm home husband now, and because we've gone plant-based in our diet, and that's made a huge difference in the well-being.
Okay.
Really has noticeable. Just fish and loads and loads of fruits and veg and seeds and nuts, and wow,
Brilliant.
Really made a difference there because of. Come on.
Mimsy says in the full moon you can stretch even more.
Oh yeah. Howl all night then.
You're not actually, as of course, wolves are carnivorous, but I suppose you can be. This is the human part of you. What would you say you're most proud of in your life?
Proud of. I'm a dad, and I'm very, very, very proud of my two children.
Yeah.
Cannot believe I've got two wonderful human beings as children. What my son has achieved and what my daughter's achieved. It's just amazing. For those people out there who don't know, my son, he works for a company called Jagex, the computer game called RuneScape, and he's a senior editor there. And he's only 25, and he's doing very well there. But his real passion, he's doing very well now. He's an adventurer. He walked the Trail of Tears across America with his companion year before last, 1,600 miles, canoed 6 weeks through the Missouri and Mississippi and right through, and finished off at the Cherokee Nations, and they spent time with the chief of the Cherokee there. He's done that, and he's walked across Norway, and he's just creating this wonderful business there. My daughter's doing this wonderful caring work, community work she's doing there, and fantastic artist as well. And it's so I'm so grateful for that. For me, grateful to have a fantastic wife and soulmate.
Marita, yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be who I am without her. Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, I'm grateful. I'm proud to. I won a few nice community awards as a police officer, which I'm quite proud of.
Well done.
And I think I'm proud to say that I'm a nice, kind person. I always want to be remembered as being just a kind person.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, that's it, really.
What's the most reckless thing you've done?
Reckless. I won't tell you any of the illegal things I've done. I don't.
Okay.
I've had an interesting teenage experience, but I think the one thing that I never get drunk. I had an experience when I was 17, as all kids do with alcohol. We played this game called Buzz, and we had these pints of white, it's either white rum or white vodka. And the idea was you deal out a pack of cards, the lowest card, you take 2 fingers worth of drink. So we got through these pints of white rum and vodka. And we thought, oh, this is great. And then about half an hour later, next thing I remember was waking up in a ditch at the side of the motorway. Don't know how I got there. In the right mess, and it was that point I've never ever. I know my drink limit, and that's the only really stupid, reckless thing that I've really learned a lesson from.
But a huge learning.
Yeah, and it comes back to awareness again, doesn't it? Keep track of your awareness at all things, because nature out there when you're drunk can be cruel.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. What is you may have already touched on it, but what is the greatest challenge that you've had, that you've overcome?
I would say quite a few things. The ovate grade for me, and I'm sure many other OBODs out there agree, is phenomenal. You deal with so much of your life's pains and hurts, and you learn to, as I touched on, I lost both my parents when I was very young, through tragic circumstances, and then I straight off the back of that, I got married too young, because I had nobody else, and then I got trapped in a loveless marriage for 20 odd years, with nowhere to go, and it broke me. It really did break me. It got to the point, I had terrible, severe depression. But I worked through that and I got over it. But when I went through the ovate grade and the grade, you deal with all these kind of pains for your life, and you learn. You can never hide pain. It's always going to be there of loss, but you learn how to. I forget which word it is without giving too much away. But
don't give too much. Don't give anything away.
you just learn to tend your little plot with flowers and bits and pieces, and you know how to deal with it, and you carry on. So all those demons that I had, I've solved it. And again, the album that we've done, Self and Marita, it's the whole of the song is the ovate grade, and it touches on the parts of the healing. It's all in there for both of us, and so that really is, the album is something which we're very proud of, because it is our healing. It's our gift to ourselves through song and creativity. So I think that's that one. Yeah.
Would you like to sing another song then? Is it from that album that you're?
I'm going to sing you a new song.
Go on.
Okay. It's going to be on the new. It's going to be on the new album.
Great.
And it's about, again, with Druid. We come to Druid, and we often people say it's like coming home.
Yeah.
And we get this knowing. It's the knowing we find that nature heals everything. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. The best connectivity. Forget downloading Wi-Fi. Just go and sit in the forest and connect. And we all have our own gurus. You're not going to find a sage on the top of a mountain or in the forest, because the sage is you.
Yes.
But, you have to you have to do that, and you find your inner sage, and he'll show you the door, but you've got to walk through that door. And you've got to have courage to step through that door.
Yes, you do.
And then, like we just mentioned about the demons that we all have and deal with, they're always going to be there. There's always going to be the dark side. But if you don't have dark, you're not going to have light. The analogy is like a yin yang, dark and light. Yeah. The trick is to walk on the line that separates, and you just keep that balance all the time. Anyway, this is called The Knowing. In the stillness of a forest grove, where the silence speaks of the wisdom of the trees, I stand before a mighty oak, feel the pulse of life, the earth's heartbeat, through the roots beneath my feet. Through the forest of mist, the sage appears, who holds a lamp and illuminates a door. Without a word I hear him say, your way ahead is the path you have searched for, and lies beyond the door. It's the knowing that's growing, the knowing that grows from within. It's ever changing, rearranging, the colors so bright, shining through the night. The knowing is the light. Without a fear, I turn the key, take the step passing through the doorway to the truth. The wheel of time, it knows the way through the wildwood of my mind, the knowing that I find from the darkness left behind. It's the knowing that's growing, the knowing that grows from within. It's ever changing, rearranging, the colors so bright, shining through the night. The knowing is the light.
Wow. So beautiful. Gabby wants to know, do you have a new name? Do you have a name for the new album yet?
Ooh. The first album is called Children of the Sun. We are looking at, because one of the songs on it is called Avalon, so it might be Children of Avalon.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. It'll be Children of something.
When is it due out?
A bit of a while yet, because obviously now I don't want to give a date. Hopefully
okay.
within a year. So
that was a beautiful song.
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we've got some nice ones. Maurice's got some beautiful songs. It's just we're looking forward to getting this one done. So.
Oh, lovely. Well, I look forward to hearing it. It's beautiful. Do you, for later on, before, do you have another song? Not right now.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Do you, is there a person in your life that you admire?
I've got a fondness for David Attenborough.
Go on.
David Attenborough. Gone blank now. That's a really hard one, really.
We can leave it.
I'll put that on the back cauldron at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
One concern that you have about the modern world, you may have touched on it already, but
yeah,
this more specific question.
Yeah, it's just it's the obvious things which we've got the G7 summit which is starting today, and
in Cornwall.
In Cornwall, and you know as well as I do, I mean it's just lip service, and the issue is, it's consumption. I mean, yes, we're worried about CO2 levels, but the human race, we're a locust. We're just consuming, and that's the real concern I have. When they say that we want to increase growth, well, if you've got to grow something, it's got to come from somewhere. We're heavily reliant on electrical items. We're going to need batteries, and where we're going to get the components for batteries. We're looking into mining in the sea and mining in Africa, and damages there. So everything is cause and effect, action reaction, and we know this. But yeah, it sounds all very bleak. But as I said before, and even in the song, things have to break. Nature always wins. We are not above nature. She'll go like this, and all we can do is do what we do within our own communities for ourselves, planting our seeds, planting our little acorns, and they become our own little forests. And that's the only way you're going to keep yourself sane, because if we're stressing ourselves over it, we're feeding ourselves negative thoughts. We can't be healers ourselves. We have got to we've got to shine bright in everything that we're doing. Was that answering your question? I've gone off on a tangent again now.
It was about a concern.
Yeah.
Modern world.
Yeah, I mean that's. I think social media it has its place. I think we're too reliant on it now. I think as Druids, obviously some people who may not be mobile to get out and about as much as they would like to, but you've got to get outside. You've got to put your phone away. You've got to get out there in the forest, get on the land, get your hands in the soil, get in the water, be in contact with the elements. Because Druidry is very easy. This is so simple. Yeah. So simple. And I've spoken to some of my colleagues who are interested in it, and they'll say, which books can I read? And I'll give them a few titles, and I said, books are great. They've got their place, but the thing is, get out in nature, learn the seasons, learn your land, learn the wildlife, become part of it. And nature comes to you. And again, this is how I've been naturally very lucky with how animals and birds work with me, because you just sink into the landscape, and you become part of it. You've seen my videos. My blackbirds used to come into the house, and you sit at breakfast, and they come to breakfast with you and going out again, because they trust your energy. They know you, and that's the essence of Druidry. It's just absorb yourself into the landscape, into the land, into the forest.
It's interesting. Ben Hopkins said the forest helped break the thought patterns behind global distress. I find walking the forest, for me, I find them really healing. I can get rid of all sorts of stuff. I come out renewed from the forest. So yes.
Yeah, and because they say we're going to plant all these trees. Great, but we don't want trees. We want forests. We want ecosystems.
Yes.
You know, there is a huge difference here. If you're building a brand new, you know, they plan to build these little super towns around the country. They've got one planned near where we live, which is going to decimate our landscape.
What's a super town? What's a super town?
Yeah, remember after the war, they built these garden villages like Stevenage, Harlow, Welwyn Garden City. They built these things with the plan to do these set things at various places around the country. These new garden villages, they're called. Building thousands upon thousands of houses, which is okay. They may need to do that. However, okay, they're saying they're gonna plant trees in bits and pieces, but we need forests. You know, we need ecosystems. You know.
Yes, we do. What gives you hope when you think of
hope? Well, I don't use hope. What gives me faith?
Okay. Don't mention the hate word. All right. So
use the H words. Look, I don't look at it as from a human perspective. You know, this planet. You know, we are part of this such amazing web. I don't know if you've seen this latest thing that the cosmologists have discovered about dark energy and dark matter. They focused the telescopes on a certain part of the night sky, and they've identified these 280 million galaxies. And using these ultra deep field, looking out there for like 3 months, you know, they've seen how the dark energy and the dark matter link all the galaxies up together and all the stars. Everything. It's like a spider's web.
Oh, okay.
You know, they've known about this, you know, quite a while, but it's fantastic, and it just shows you how we really are all connected, from the cosmos all the way down, because it looks like a brain, all the fibers of tree roots, and all that is through to us now, to the planets. It's all the way down to the macros, the macro in our own systems. I forgot what your question was now.
What gives you faith? You know, what reassures you? What reassures you going forward?
Yeah, so we are insignificant of what is the bigger picture of the grand cosmic web of all things that's out there, of this great spirit and everything. And, you know, our existence as human beings, this human spirits, will pass over into another existence. So, okay, it's tragic what's going on, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm not worrying about it, because it's just this part of nature, our time. And so the faith part is, let's do the best that we can in our time, this moment now, for the people having this experience. And that is all we can do. You know, so that's you know, that's my faith. That, you know, as I said, you know, we are as OBOD and as Druids and other earth-based spiritualities, this is the best time. You know, because Mother Nature is now waving those flags. Sort it out now, because we have to.
Yes. We
have to now. There's no running away from it, because a good analogy, I used to use this at Speaker's Corner. So you've got, you know, one religion here shouting, and the other ones, all screaming on this, and you've got the atheists doing this, and you've got the far right, far left, they're all screaming at each other in this great big stadium, yelling and screaming and everything. And everybody's screaming, the water's rising up and rising up and rising up. Doesn't, you know, the water is now, the elements have taken over, because everybody's too busy arguing about everything else. You know.
Absolutely. And I think we need to live as fully as we can for as long as we can, and being aware. And yeah. Debbie says, thank you for sharing your path, Stephen. It's made interesting listening. Good luck on your new ventures and enjoy your retirement. Keep being you.
Thank you.
Solstice. Is there anything... Okay, I suppose you've been a peacemaker and a peacekeeper in Speaker's Corner. Is there a time or a reason where you would fight back? Like, are you a pacifist?
I'm not a pacifist. No. I'm. You work within the law, and you work with what is true justice, what is fair. Yeah, and I think out of the whole of my police career, I've never needed to use my CS spray.
Yeah.
I've only used my baton once. I've done jiu-jitsu and various martial arts for many years, and I've got the police training, so I know how to use nice arm locks and restraints. But most of the time, this is how you talk to people. Is how you deal with something. Always, there's no good going in there.
Yes.
Because you've got nowhere to go. You go in here. You've got an awkward situation. You go in and say, "How are you doing? I'm Steve. Pleased to meet you." Bring it down.
Diffuse it. Yeah.
Diffuse it. Talk it through, and it works. But I've had a few beatings. I've had a broken arm, dislocated knees.
Ooh.
I've got a Crown Court case coming up soon I've got blood poisoning and got spat in the face. So I've had all kinds of excrement thrown over me. You name it, pig's blood. I've had a lot. Yeah.
And you didn't react. Well done.
No. I am the proverbial gentle giant.
Well, I think it's a wonderful gift to have. And I suppose given you with all your martial arts skill, that if it came to it, you could use them, but knowing that you don't have to, that it's the last resort.
Yeah.
And that gives great confidence, I imagine, in that.
Yeah. Because it's not about even martial arts. It's not about you using lots of force. It's not about that. It's soft movements. It's about control. Small circle and moving people and nice simple locks and it's like Tai Chi. Tai Chi is actually a martial art, as you know.
Yes.
Very slow. But in actual fact, it is a self-defense.
Brilliant. Is there anything you'll not compromise on?
My integrity.
Okay. Yeah.
Integrity is non-negotiable, ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually going back to what I'm most proud of. It is my integrity. Never bow on that one.
And you've been managed in the job you've done to hold on to that integrity and keep the integrity of your integrity. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I touched it even up in the Extinction Rebellion kinds of things, and I was always in trouble from various superiors who saying, why don't you do it this way, do it that way? Because that is not right. My integrity is, this is the way it should be done because this is the right way to do it. And I won't be bullied by any of my superiors. I'll do it, which is the most just and right way. You know.
Oh, well done.
To be fair,
it's how come you can do that and others can't? What is it about you that gives you that ability not to not to do as some superiors would expect you to do something you don't agree with? What is it that allows you to stand your own ground? I mean, not everybody does that. And this happens in all walks of life. It's not just in the police, where people go, I don't agree with this, but this is my job, or this is what I have to do, or my boss said. So what is it that allows you to?
I think it's a lot to do with my upbringing. My dad was a police officer 30 years.
Okay.
He went straight in after the war, 1945. And he was real old school. I mean, God, his integrity was like, and also I was strictly brought up, but I was really taught what was right and what was wrong. And I think that was my foundation for who I am and that where I am today, really. Always look out for the little guy.
Yeah.
Always stand up for what is right. Which is, and there's a bit of a paradox here, because sometimes I feel that I want to get on some of these protests and I want to get out there and things like that. But sometimes I don't believe in protests. Protests don't work, and there's something about that, because they get hijacked, and
yes,
the integrity of what it's about is getting lost. I've got to work through that with myself, and where I'm going to go in my next stage and how I'm going to do my activism, because it's got to be done the right way.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when you say protest, you haven't probably worked it out. When protests don't work because of things being hijacked.
Yeah.
What alternative is there? There may be many alternatives.
Sorry?
There may be many alternatives.
There may be many alternatives. The societies, and we've got such an awkward society now, because everybody is constantly put against each other, whether it's Brexit, anti-Brexit, Trump, other. We're constantly put into fear, up against each other. This is why XR is a lot of the public turn against it, because they can't get to A and B and everything, and so I think sometimes they don't help themselves, because they can't break through the hemp ceiling, and it's just I don't know. It's a very strange time to because everybody's protesting about something. It's just lost. It's like Life of Brian. The Judeans pop the people front, and you've got this group over there, and that's exactly what it's like. It's what Speaker's Corner was like, and you think, oh no. I think if we want to protest about environment issues, I think we've got to be a little bit smarter. And I've always been on the belief it's a local level. It's to be seen to do. Let people see your actions, what you do in a community, whether it's going around picking up litter, or going to your local supermarket and say, look, why have we got this kind of plastic? Why can't we do this? And just keep doing the pressure this kind of way. I don't really know. It's a really, really difficult one.
It is. Absolutely.
I was going to say, but again, social media again is. I worry about that, because I think that's. I think it's dangerous as well.
Yeah, I mean, it has wonderful, facilities like what we're doing now. You know, people are watching us on Facebook and YouTube, and that is just wonderful. And we've got people from all over the world, and that's the good side. It's a bit like electricity or cars are great if they're used properly, you know. Otherwise, they can be dangerous. And are you ready for another song?
Yeah. This is from the Bardic grade. This one was. It's called I Am.
Okay.
I am the wind. I am the winter gale. I am a breeze that will clear the way. I am the fire. I am the summer sun. I am the warmth that brings life to the land. I am everything around you. I am everything you see. I am everything you will ever know. You make me everything I am. I am the rain. I am the open seas. I am the rivers of life flowing free. I am the earth. I am the mountains high. I am the deserts and the plains under open skies. I am everything around you. I am everything you see. I am everything you will ever know. You make me everything I am. I am the day. I am the darkest night. I am the moonlight that shines the way. I am the voice of the universe. I am the rhyme and the song, nature's verse. I am everything around you. I am everything you see. I am everything you will ever know. You make me everything I am. You make me everything I am. You make me everything I am.
Oh, that is just beautiful. Somebody says here, what a beautiful druidic voice. It's just absolutely exquisite. Just, I'm so glad that you've become well enough to
Yeah.
play again, because it would be such a tragedy for the rest of us, not to mention you.
Yeah,
okay, Jane Myatt, what is she saying? Great song, Stephen. Tell us about your special guest appearance at the last OBOD Winter Gathering. Oh, that must have been at the Eisteddfod when I sang with you.
Oh yes, that was wonderful, wasn't it?
Yes, because Marita wasn't there, so it was yourself, myself, and Ali. That was nerve-wracking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good.
Yeah. Okay, Scott White. Stephen, when are you coming to Kilkenny to perform?
Well, 2 weeks' time, and COVID depending, I'm a free man now. Yeah. So yeah, the new chapter. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's part of the new chapter is is to work on the music and the druidry, get a grove up and running. Very, very excited for what's the future is holding. So yeah,
it's lovely. I mean, when you talk about this is the right time to be a druid. I'd agree in terms of the freedom I have to practice to be a druid here in Ireland, having brought up, it was a very strictly Roman Catholic country when I was a child, and I don't have to hide it from anybody. And there's lots of freedom. I can talk about here. It's not the same in other countries, but here it is. It's absolutely wonderful. And now that you're young enough, having taking early retirement, to be able to explore all of those things is an absolute wonderful gift. And then there's your future, and then there's the world's future at the moment, which is still rather uncertain. However, we have faith.
We have faith.
I'm using the F word, not the H word, and in the future. So, my last question: what is your favorite festival? When you think of the Wheel of the Year.
Do you know? I thought about this because I knew you would probably ask me this question. I don't think I really have a favourite, because I see the festivals as times of colour and what the landscape is doing. So, love Beltane, love doing that ritual and the time of year. But I love about May, when it's the time, it's when the green, when the quickening starts and everything, like we see now, everything is coming to life, and it's that's that period. And then I love the solstice time. Yes, we mark that, but again, it's a state of flux. It's in the middle of the summer. But the lunar summer, when you get the wonderful green, the golds, and
yes.
And then it's the mabon, and it's colour, and everything really is in the fruit, and then we go into the greys and the darks of the winter. And but I do like winter solstice as well, because again it's that time of being, you're in the leather bag the 3 days before the light comes back, and it's that you know that's what's coming, and then you've got Imbolc with waiting for snow. I mean, Rita absolutely loves Imbolc. She goes, let's go and find snowdrops, and we're going out. But to be honest, I don't really have Samhain as well, and I don't have a favourite. I love them all for all what they are, and how each colour, how the grid is coloured. I think, because I don't have a favourite colour.
Most people say Samhain, but I find actually, I'm in the whatever one is I'm in is the favorite, because I enjoy each of the rituals. I enjoy each picture in the landscape and each message, and so it's like, and that's what's lovely, living in a temperate climate. And when people come, you've got warmer weather than we do, but when people, Irish people are great whingers about weather. It's either too hot, too cold, too miserable, too damp, whatever it is. But I love the variety, that to follow the year. I love, I had a sleeveless dress on today. It was my first time this year. I also enjoy wrapping up in the winter. I like wearing a jacket. I like not wearing a jacket. It's those kind of things, with that variety. And so there's the temperatures, and then, like you say, the colors Absolutely. And we have a brilliant landscape to live in. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So, Stephen, that was my last question. And it has been an absolute joy talking to you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You've been an absolutely wonderful guest. And so it's been an absolute joy. And okay, Aaron Carson says it's a fierce mild today in Ireland. Yeah, that is a very, very Irish way of putting it. Somebody could be horrid, good looking, fierce, nice, terrible, fierce, mild. Yes, I understand that. That's lovely. So it's been an absolute joy having you as my guest. So I'm going to say goodbye, not to you. You stay where you are. And I'll just say goodbye to our viewers. So I'm going to say goodnight to you officially, but stay where you are. So listen, thank you all for your comments. Steve and I afterwards will go and read your comments. It's so great that you contribute to the conversation with questions. Again, there are so many. I didn't get to acknowledge all of them, but they're very, very much appreciated because your comments and your presence here really, really contribute to these conversations. So it's been absolutely lovely. I look forward to seeing you next week, which will be just before the summer solstice. And just to remind you again, we will be hosting our first ever online summer gathering on Saturday, the 19th of June. It starts at 10 a.m. UK time, and it goes on. We have a morning session, afternoon session. Our ritual will be at 3:30, and then we'll have a nice dead foot at 8 p.m. So it'll go on from actually 12 hours, from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. UK time. So I look forward to seeing you then. And it'll be on the same platform. It'll be either Facebook or YouTube. So thank you all. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Enjoy the rest of the evening, the rest of the morning, the afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. So slán go fóill.